I want to run through some commodity quotes here with quotes provided by Bar Chart. And looking at the corn market at the present time, we are actually expanding on the gains we had early today. Look at December now, 5 1/4 higher. We're at 421 1/2. We did have an overnight sale of corn to Mexico. It was 195,000 tons. That sure didn't hurt the cause, that's for sure. The nearby contracts are leading the charge to the upside. On the soybean trade today, there was no export news. And we had January soybeans, now 22 3/4 higher at 1176 1/4 on the high of the day, and that would be at least a 4.5-year high, if not maybe even further back than that. As we go higher, you have to go further back on the charts usually. So tremendous gains in soybeans today, even with no apparent export news to support it. Let's look at the wheat, and in Chicago wheat, we have the December 1 3/4 higher at 5.99 3/4. March is up 3/4 cent. In Kansas City wheat, December 2 3/4 lower at 5.55 1/4. March is down 3.5 cents. So working on that spread today, apparently. And now, excuse me, Minneapolis spring wheat is down 3 1/4 at 5.51 1/4 per bushel, and you have July now 3/4 higher at 5.85 3/4. By the way, that cotton market, we have the December contract down 19 points at 69.38. Well, we're joined by Ben Hushon of the Mill in Whitehall, Maryland, with our weekly update on conditions along that mid-Atlantic region there. And Ben, do you have the corn harvest done, or are you still working on that there?
Good morning, Marlin. Let me start by saying Tim Ross can keep all that snowflake talk off air at least for another couple of weeks over in our part of the U.S. We did have, since we last talked, Marlin, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain, depending on which part of our list or our area you were in. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week, it just kept raining, nice and gentle. Made for a really disjointed week for a lot of reasons, but pretty much saw some folks starting to get back into corn harvest late yesterday, and we still have most of the double crop soybeans to get done that get planted after wheat, but full season corn is winding down. I hesitate to guess, but I'd say there's still probably 15-20% of the corn still out there to be harvested.
All right, so a little bit of the corn left. How is the wheat doing as well?
You know, it's interesting as we like these warm falls, dry spells, so that a lot of work can get done. A lot of people are talking about, shelling corn in T-shirts, which they're not used to doing. But that warm weather, for all the good, it also brings some challenges. Never had this call before. I had a call last Friday wanting to know, hey, my barley, not cover crop, but actually barley that they planted, was now 9 inches tall, 8 to 9 inches tall. Is that too tall, etc.? And the other thing, I got a couple pictures on Saturday from 2 different directions, yellow spots in wheat. Now, you should never do what I did to one of those. One of the fellows, I said, we'll come out and look. The other one, I said, ooh, it almost reminds me of, I wonder if you have aphids. We've had an awfully warm fall. Aphids will show up in their wheat, and they tend to bring the barley yellow dwarf disease along with it, which, sure enough, the next morning, Penn State Extension sent out a little heads up that, hey, keep an eye out. Looks just like you've got patches of poor fertility. You go out and you'll find those little aphids just reminding us that a warm fall is not best for everything.
Wow, I'm glad you pointed that out. Interesting stuff. Thanks, Ben. We look forward to our talk next week, too. Ben Hushon, he's with the Mill in Whitehall, Maryland. We'll pause here, and we'll take a look at our livestock information when we come back.